माननीय सदस्यगण, जिन्हें आज नियम 377 के अधीन मामले उठाने की अनुमति दी गई है, वे व्यक्तिगत रूप से तत्काल मामले का अनुमोदित पाठ सभा पटल पर प्रस्तुत करें। आइटम नंबर 19, केंद्रीय बजट पर सामान्य चर्चा। डॉक्टर शशि तरूर जी।
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. May I have your permission to speak seated? I am afraid I have a fracture on my foot.
You are permitted, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for granting me the honor of voicing on behalf of the Indian National Congress my perspective on the Union budget presented by the Honourable Finance Minister, whom I'm glad to see in the chamber. Last year, when I was standing in this very place, I had remarked that the 2025 Finance Bill reminded me of the garage mechanic who said, "I couldn't fix your brakes, so I made the horn louder." Looking at the budget this year, I'm saddened to observe that though the horn has been muted, that there hasn't been enough movement. For this budget too appears to be a squandered opportunity, equivalent to rearranging the airbags on a crashing car while assuring the passengers that the chassis is sturdy and they will feel better afterwards. This budget is praised for prudence, but prudence without vision or fairness is hollow. It ignores unemployment, it ignores rising living costs, and it ignores inequality, offering little to address the real struggles and aspirations of the Aam Aadmi. The government speaks endlessly of welfare, but its spending tells a very different story. Behind flashy announcements like chronic underutilization and administrative failure. Media reports show that of over 5 lakh crore budgeted for 53 major welfare and infrastructure schemes last year, barely 41% was spent in the first 9 months of the fiscal year. Take the Jal Jeevan Mission, allotted 67,000 crores, it managed to spend an astonishingly low 31 crores in 9 months. The much-touted PM Schools for Rising India scheme spent only 473 crores out of 7,500. Most shocking of all, the Pradhan Mantri Anusuchit Jati Abhyudaya Yojana, meant for the socio-economic upliftment of scheduled castes, utilized out of 2,140 crores, merely 40 crores. This is not governance, Mr. Chairman. This is headline management. Where promises are loud, like that horn, budgets are grand, but delivery is conspicuously absent. The budget this year has landed with a thud, not because of what it contains, but because of what it omits. Behind claims of fiscal prudence lie a more uncomfortable reality. The Indian state is shrinking, not by design, but by compulsion. Government expenditure as a share of GDP has declined over the past decade, briefly rising during the pandemic before reverting close to the 2016 levels, driven by stagnant revenue mobilization. Tax receipts have remained flat relative to GDP. Disinvestment has underperformed, and non-tax revenues increasingly rely on extraordinary transfers such as Reserve Bank of India dividends, an unsustainable substitute for a stable revenue base. More troubling is the shift in the tax burden towards individuals, bearing a greater share of the tax burden than corporations, despite sharp post-pandemic profit growth. To elaborate further, in fiscal year 2017, corporate taxes were 3.2% of GDP, personal income tax was 2.3% of GDP. In fiscal year 27, that is 10 years later, they are projected to be 3.1% for corporates and 3.7% for personal income tax of individuals. So your revenue is coming disproportionately from the individual taxpayers. Fiscal consolidation since COVID has been achieved largely through expenditure compression, presenting necessity as virtue and compulsion as choice. Within these constraints, the government has relied on low-cost measures such as tax simplification and targeted incentives.